Scoreboards. No one really needs them to make a map great, but they do add a little extra fun. In this video I will show you how to set them up. You will find the scoreboard here in the interactive menu. Under edit there are several basic settings, like here the variable where you can choose what you want to have, like kills, damage done, deaths, damage taken. Also here you can clear between the games, which is important, and always update. Here you can add a title to the scoreboard, like for example statistic. However, for real cool stuff you need to go here into the event editor and set variables. Today we choose 3 variables for 3 different situations. First we start with a variable called died in a room, so you can make it in a specific room where people die. Here you need to scope individual because you want it to be individual one person. It should be a number. Owning object is the player, and these 2 settings we just leave the way they are. Then we add a second variable, an independent second variable. We also give it a name, for example, killed with a specific weapon, let's say a P90. And then we add a third variable. We call it killed when you took a specific item, for example a pumpkin took an action. So now we add the new event, we open it, and as a trigger we choose collect collectibles. For the select we choose the collecting player, and then we go here to add variable, and we choose the suitable variable, which is in this case took an action, but it can be anything. And then we go here for 1. So what this does is every time when someone collects a collectible, it adds 1 point to this variable. So now the only thing what we need to do is go to the scoreboard, to the edit, and here at the variable we choose the one we want. For example here took an action, and of course we can rename our scoreboard accordingly. For example, took collectibles. However, the way it is set up now, it is for any kind of collectibles, so we need to add a condition. For this we go here, choose the event and the item idea, and here we choose which collectible we want. So for example here we take a pumpkin. So that means only if you collect something and the item here is a pumpkin, then only it will add 1 point to this variable. If you choose other things, it would not add to it. In this case we already have a kill event, so we just go into this one and modify it. For this one we add an extra condition. So here we need to control the condition. So here as a selected object we take the killer and then the current weapon. Where is it? Here. Okay, so if the current weapon of the killer is and then we choose the weapon, a P90. So if this is the case, then this action will happen, so it adds a score, which is like the normal kill score, the overall kill score. And then for the scoreboard we need a second counter which is only in the variable we want. So in this case it adds 1 point to the variable called killed with P90. And in any other case it only adds 1 point to the general kill score. Okay, so we breed. Only if you kill someone and the current weapon is a P90, then it adds 1 to the general score plus 1 to the variable on the scoreboard, and in any case it puts 1 to the general score. For the third version we need to have a trigger box, and we just place it, and then we go to the event editor and we add one more variable. There's a force here, and we call it, we make a switch in this box, so we call it box with a switch or box switch. So switch means when you enter, the variable changes to 1. When you go outside, it goes to 0, so that it always knows where you are. Now we add the event. We call it switch box. So here as a trigger, we choose a trigger function because we use the trigger box to triggering it. It's triggering player. And then we need to add a condition. So here the condition is if the triggering player has inside of this variable, which is called box switch, has a number of 0, that means he is outside and coming inside, then the first thing what we need to do is we set this variable. You see, it needs to be the same variable, it needs to be careful. So the both needs to be box switch. Okay, so if you go inside, we need to set this variable to 1 so that the game knows you're inside, you always have the 1, and if you go outside, again, it sets the variable back to the box switch variable back to 0. So when you enter here, it changes from 0 to 1, and if you exit again and it triggers again, then you have like a number which is not 1, not 0, and it goes back to 0. That's the switch. Okay, now we need to have a second event. We call it box stat or box statistics. In this case we want that it counts the people who died inside of the box. So as a trigger we choose not kill enemy but player killed, and the select is the dead player. Here choose dead player. Now we add the condition. So remember, if the variable here, the box switch, defines if you're inside the box or outside the box. Here you need to have the select object as a dead player. Okay, so if the dead player is inside the box, then the switch should be set to 1. So if we add here 1, it only fires if you are inside of the box, and then we choose the action we want to do. So in this case, if the people die inside of the box, we add a variable add a variable of 1 to this other variable which is called died in the room. In any other cases, and I don't know if you this really need to do, or I just can leave it, but I always put it, you make another variable is add 0 to the variable. So, and then you need to go to the edit and you need the trigger function to the switch box, and you also, that's important, you need to go for the exit function also switch box, so that it fires this once you enter, but also when you exit. Keep in mind that you cannot spawn the people inside of the box because that will mess up the box. So put all the spawn points outside of the box, then you will be fine. It also helps if you add a force field between the pre-spawn points and the switch, because that can also mess it up. If you don't want to separate them, then you can actually use these settings as an extra event, and it should work because it sets the variable always to 0 in the switch box, so no matter where they are, it always starts with 0. Great, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or want other topics, then feel free to leave a comment and I try my best to answer it.